First off, I want to give credit to Evil Exists for the video that I found and the thumbnail that I have up, because that text message between her and Don Wells belongs to her. She is the one that reached out to Don Wells and captured this conversation. And I believe that this conversation pretty much says all that we have been needing to know for the case for the last 8 months. And the conversation can be found under her heading for the video about leaked audio for victim from the Victims Advocate outreach 8 months ago. And she reaches out to Don Wells, or she, I assume Evil Exists is a she. She reaches out to Don Wells, and she just flat out asks, do you feel that Summer is still alive? And his answer is just a flat no. Just no. And she asked, well, do you at least have the rest of your family in church? And he's like, yes, Summer's favorite church. And he goes on to say, and she'll be in the rapture and blah, 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 and blah, blah, blah. But just the point blank question of, is there a chance that Summer is still alive? And he replies, no. There is also a video in her lineup from 8 months ago, 8.5 months ago, that's called Lawyered Up. We've been questioning whether or not Don and Candace has a lawyer. And I shared it on my community page. I shared her video. Y'all know I do not screen share other people's videos. I do not copy other people's videos. I will tell you where you can find these videos that I talk about. Hey, hun. But the name of it is called Lawyered Up. And it is a conversation between, this is 2 days after the boys had been taken by CPS, and it's actually a conversation between Don Wells and Jay for Justice. And he's talking about how the sheriff wants Candace to come in for a third polygraph test. And he goes on to tell Jay for Justice that the lawyer has told them not to go in for the third polygraph test. And then he goes on to speak about if the TBI ask for a polygraph test, then they will consider cooperating with the TBI, because the TBI is a lot more professional than county sheriffs and so forth. That they have no intention of cooperating with the county screw-up sheriff's department that's trying to pin something on them that they did not do. And this was 8.5 months ago. So therefore, if Candace never went in and took that third polygraph test, and guys, we've heard about one polygraph test. We never heard about 2 polygraph tests. We never heard, there's been rumors that they was wanting her to come in for another polygraph test and she refused. But here, I'm telling you exactly where you can find it coming out of the horse's mouth. Because you know I do my research, correct? And I always tell you, never, ever, ever take my word for it. And this is where you can find it. And Evil Exists video is on our community tabs, which means when you view it, she will get any monetization from it or so forth. I will not get any monetizations from her videos, because y'all know I just don't do that crap with other creators. Right, Sammy, but I thought that just counted as one. Because that was actually considered an incomplete test. If they cannot test you, that's an incomplete test. So when she went back, that counted as one complete test. Or that's how I would view it. That's how I look at it. As that's the first completed polygraph test. Because how many times have they said, well, she could not take it, she could not complete it, so they sent her home. But I could see how people would assume that that made two separate tests. But it shouldn't. It should count as the first completed test. You feel me? Well, like I said, I'm telling you where you can find this information, and where the first phrase lawyered up was used. And it was 8 months ago. And I am so proud that people like Evil Exists doesn't dirty delete. Because I have went back to some other creators that done interviews with Don, that I remember that certain creator done this, and this interview, and I can't find those interviews. Well, Angel for Justice, I explained how that kind of works this morning in our live this morning. And what she's not saying is, hold on. When CPS took possession of the children, when they took custody of the two boys, even though they did not take physical custody of Summer, they did take custody of Summer, paper-wise. Because if there was a chance that she was going to show up, they were not going to wait for her to show up and put her back in that home and then go through family court to try and remove her from that home. When they removed those boys, they went ahead and they removed the physical custody and the paper custody of Summer as well from the Wells. So the lawyer that she has for the boys also covers what custody remains of Summer. So when she says, well, the lawyer for the boys, she also means the lawyer for Summer. So if that lawyer tells her, don't speak to anybody regarding Summer, or don't speak to anybody regarding the children, that means Summer as well. Well, when you go back to that video that I just referred you to, Don Wells says their lawyer told them not to take that polygraph. So again, do not take my word for it. And I'm not going to argue it. I'm taking what Don Wells said. And I'm sending you to where Don Wells said it. And I do know that the state has paper custody of Summer. Well, it would be don't speak about the children. Or don't speak about the children's case. Exactly. Now, do I think that, even though I am all over Tim Mullen, do I think that this church has done something just really, the whole church just done something really nefarious and the whole church is down a deep, dark rabbit hole? No, I don't. I think that they had some pretty good friends in this church. An accident happened, and these really good friends may have helped them cover it up. Bottom line, that's Angel. The video that I'm referring to is now on my community tab, and it's a video by Evil Exist, and it's called Lawyered Up. Or you can go to Evil Exists and pull it up under her videos under Lawyered Up is the name of the video, and it was put out 8 months ago. And then her sources for the video is listed where she got her sources from under her description. And the other video that I am speaking about is the leaked victims advocate outreach video under Evil Exist. And again, under her description is her sources for that. You are very welcome, Angel. And that is exactly why I do not make videos off of other creators' videos, because I always tell my subscribers, never take my word for it. Here's where you can do your research and find what I'm telling you. To please go and look for yourself. I think that's a fair enough option. And I hope everybody respects me for doing that. And that way I am not putting out false information just to create a video to put out there for monetary gain. And let me tell y'all, as far as Candace saying that Ernie Shell cannot search her property, I would not let Ernie Shell search my car for a stick of bubble gum. And that's the honest to God's truth. Did y'all see the way that he searched that racetrack? Did y'all see that video? He was not bagging evidence properly. He was not wearing gloves. He was not properly preserving the evidence. And with him being a YouTuber, you don't know who you can trust to plant evidence or not at this point. If I was her and I was going to let anybody search that property, it would be EquiSearch and the TBI. That's who I would have search my property. I have been in search and rescue 20, 25 years. And if, when we are searching for people, like when they first go missing, if we run across evidence, we are to and wait for proper authorities to show up to bag and tag that evidence. We are not to bend over and pick that up. So I don't know who he thinks he is. Honestly. I don't. I have no idea. The only thing I know about Chris is they said that he had offered his services in the Megan Boswell case for free or something. I really don't remember. Right, the parents get a separate lawyer than the children even get. The children's lawyers are referred to as guardian ad litems. And that guardian ad litem actually has the say so over what those kids do and don't do and where they are placed and where they go. So Summer actually has one too, and they have just not publicly said that. And if you remember in those phone calls that Benny has released, those phone calls said that they have publicly lied to YouTube on several occasions and YouTubers on several occasions. I don't know, but when you go back and watch this leaked victims advocate tape, and it was the first people that tried to help him before Benny got involved. This was in reference to the hoaxed phone call that they done on Mary. She said that she was waiting to do a phone interview with them, and they wouldn't do a phone interview until a certain time. And she was afraid that they were going to get to drinking, so she was calling every 15 minutes, every 15 minutes. And she said, I don't know how they got that drunk that quick because I had just spoken with them. So she was just in shock at how fast their personalities change. What do I think the reason for all the lies are? Well, the reason I think all the lies are is to keep all the social media stirred up, making the investigation twice as hard on the TBI. Because all the false tips that are coming in, and I think that's why Ronnie Lawson said that he was no longer taking tips off of social media, regardless of what they were. I posted month before last where Ronnie Lawson said that he was no longer taking tips from social media if it was not um, a good, reliable tip. He just wasn't taking it. That he was no longer taking, well, I heard this on YouTube or I heard this on Facebook, or they just weren't taking them. And I think it was to slow the investigation down altogether. See, in Megan Boswell's case, in Evelyn, it took them 2 weeks to recover Evelyn's body, or roughly 2 weeks. And in that 2 weeks' time, it is said that there are thousands of social media files, hundreds of audio files, and thousands of text messages. There was so many that her defense lawyers were having to file motions so the jury would not see them all, because the little girl's post-mortem records was so intense that they were afraid the jury was just going to fry the mother just on emotion alone without all the social media records. So he was filing motions to keep them from seeing a lot of the social media things, a lot of the recordings, a lot of the audio files. And that was just in a short amount of time. So could you imagine the social media files, the audio files, and the text files that have been gathered in the Wells case? And then they have to sort through fact from fiction. And I do believe that they will be able to establish that Don and Candace both had YouTube accounts and what they had been watching previously to Summer's disappearance. I think that they knew not to take a phone with them. I think they knew. I think that they had been studying previous cases prior to the final destination of whatever happened to Summer. And I don't know what, but I think that there is something about the flowers. There's something about the black-eyed Susans, the daisies. There's something that symbolizes, and I don't know what yet. I'm trying to figure that out. Because, Don left one single black-eyed Susan in Utah on that stack of rocks that he left for Summer's marker. Jody Sue posted a couple of times about the sunflowers on Ben Hill Road, but they weren't sunflowers. They were actually black-eyed Susans. And shortly after Summer got gone, she got a tattoo of a very pretty yellow daisy on the inside of her arm, or what appears to be a yellow daisy. And it just seems that every time I'm researching, the videos with Tim, and Tim's videos, he focuses a lot on the yellow daisies and the black-eyed Susans. So if y'all happen to run across any videos with black-eyed Susans, or you happen to run across something strange with the yellow daisies around Ben Hill Road or anything, y'all email those to me. Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. That is so sweet. Thank you so much. And my email can be found just about anywhere in any of the links or at the beginning of any of my uh, pre-recorded videos. Let it be. I will put that towards a subscription service or a software service or something. I really appreciate that. Hey, Sky. So I am looking for any links to black-eyed Susans or yellow daisies, or and Tim has said as much about symbology, that he is really into symbology, and that is one thing that just keeps popping up and popping up and popping up. And y'all start noticing for yourself about the black-eyed Susans, and I don't know how they're going to come into play, but absolutely, absolutely. And I think one thing that we need to listen to Jody Sue about is what Jose knows. And she's been trying to tell us for days about Jose. And I think his interviews have just really gone too far. It will be interesting tonight to see if Josh cooks his cornbread for him and what Chris has to say to him. I've tried to get Carl to, me and him communicate, video to video, but it's like he really doesn't want to give out his email address. And I can understand that with everything going on, that he wouldn't want to give out a lot of his information to people. And I understand that because creators are getting hacked, left and right. Right, I've noticed that Route 66, and there's a piece of Route 66 that goes right through Rogersville, too. But they're destroying these character witnesses, bringing them into YouTube. If a character witness has been found, the proper thing to do is to notify the TBI or the FBI and say, look, I know where this person is at, and these are the reasons I think that they should be re-interviewed. Okay, is he under Enchanted Life Path there too, or is he under a different name on Twitter? Well, and Jose has took money for his interviews on YouTube. And when you pay a witness for anything or any kind of statements, that's wrong. Oh, I love Harsh Reality. I give him a shout out all the time in my videos. I leave him comments all the time. He is awesome. Harsh is cool. He's informative. He's great about the way he explains things. It does. It makes all statements. And that's not saying anything negative about Jody Sue. You know, I'm off of the Jody Sue kick. I have spoke with Jody Sue. But could you imagine putting her on a witness stand? Every time she would open her mouth and testify about something, they could pull up something and say, but on this date you said this. And it would just be a controversy back and forth. It would all be thrown out of court and none of it would be worth anything. But, you know, if her statements about the way Candace would give the kids liquor in their sippy cups, if any of that was true, that would have been very important testimony in court. And it should have never been said on YouTube. Exactly. And, you know, I spoke with Jackie Dobbs a little bit yesterday, back and forth. It wasn't but just a couple of things. And, you know, I told him to please don't let JLR and Andrea pull him out and force him into the YouTube streets, because I honestly believe that he will be used as a character witness at some point, or some sort of witness at some point. Just the whole way that all that happened was just red flag, red flag, red flag, red flag. But he said that he never seen a little girl on the Wells property to begin with. He never heard a little girl on the Wells property to begin with. And see, that's a red flag. Jody Sue could hear her playing over on her hill. But Jackie Dobbs is right next to him, and he could not ever hear or see her playing. He did not know that there was a little girl there. I think because Tim is a dignitary and he is associated with law firms, I think that Mr. Mullen has supplied them with what law and law advice that they need. One of the tree trimmers said that they thought that they had seen her laying down in the back of the truck, but they again did not see her upright. I don't know. Maybe she just enjoys the company of people. You know, she's sick, she's trapped in the house, and she doesn't get to get out much. And maybe that's just kind of become her thing. Well, the point is with Jackie is that's one more thing for law enforcement to look at that doesn't need to be pulled out into the YouTube streets by JLR and Andrea. Well, you know, I've been sick. You know, several years ago I had cervical cancer and I couldn't get out. I was in the bed a lot. And I was in the bed a lot for a year and a half. And I was on Facebook a lot because I was just kind of trapped in the house, and I was not seeing people other than my immediate family. So I can see, you know, reaching out to other human beings to keep from going completely stir crazy. So, you know, keep that in mind too, that sometimes people will have the tendency to keep things going so they're not alone. And I'm not saying that's why. And I think that she feels that she may be helping Summer in some sort of way. Right. Well, you know, if you look back, I was the first one that said that there was more property over in Washington County, and it wasn't in Don Wells' name, it was under the Wells Family Trust. And you would not find it unless you was just looking under the last name Wells. And then you just kind of stumble across it and fall. And I've still not got anybody to answer me of why it's there, who helped establish that trust. And it had to be a real estate company with a lawyer to put that in a revocable trust. Is it a totally different Wells family that just so happens to go by the Wells Family Trust? Could you email me that stuff at goddess.syn77@gmail.com? They have links to North Carolina and South Carolina as well. So what's it? goddess.syn77@gmail.com. I would like to take a look at that. Because I find it funny that two separate families in that area is going by the same. Right. They do have links to North Carolina and South Carolina. I mean, do y'all not remember the people in the family in North Carolina that wanted to throw Summer a birthday party, and they wouldn't let, Don's probation officer wouldn't let Don go? No, my email's not cap sensitive. No, they are not poor. They just choose to live like that because of the drugs. Don makes good money when he works. Don was capable of paying somebody 50% of what he grossed. And 50% of what he grossed was enough for another person to support their family on if Don paid them correctly. So when Don works, his income could actually support two families if he was not using drugs. Well, that church, I have linked them all over North Carolina, South Carolina, Kentucky, Missouri, New York. I would have to look. I've linked them everywhere. They have been everywhere. Yeah, hit the like button, guys, because it keeps it in the algorithm. It puts my video into the algorithm. But I did want to bring all that to exactly, especially Waco. Especially Waco. And when you go to research the churches and the establishment in that area, you know, you run across things, the Shepherd's Rod, the UPA 7 website, and those are all owned by Branch Davidians. And there's no way, I mean, that's not a conspiracy, it's factual. And I put out a video that, you know, showed where the FBI lists the Branch Davidians as no more than a splinter group of Seventh-day Adventists, and that's how they're listed to this day by the FBI is Seventh-day Adventist. Hang on just a second, guys. I've got to reset my tens unit. I had it set for an hour. And Well, you know, there was rumors back around Christmas time that Don was in rehab. And if you listen to the phone calls, um, and y'all might have seen the picture circulating of Candace being at the hotel in the swimming pool with Benny. That's when the rumors were circulating about Don being in rehab. Don was not in rehab. He was out for about a week smoking crack cocaine. So I guess that's how they all know about the crack cocaine and everything. That's actually where Don was at. I have no idea. I don't keep in contact with Gigi and all that. It's actually doing really well. We put the gold eyes in it Saturday. We put, can't see it from my necklace. So it's slowly going. And anybody that's not kept up with me, that's not familiar with it, that was done with my son's cremation ashes. My son got really sick with his heart. He was 31. And he got really sick. And he needed to make it a year and able to be on the organ transplant list for a new heart. And he didn't make it a year. He made it like 7.5, almost 8 months. And we lost him. And he wanted to be cremated, so we cremated him. And he told us where all he wanted to be turned loose at, where his ashes were to go. So I took a little bit of his ash. I wear a little bit of it in this little teeny tiny locket around my neck. This little tiny teardrop has got a lot of his ash in it. And I made 4 more of these for his brothers and his sisters. But anyway, when the owl is finished, his wings will touch here and touch here out on my shoulders. And in his wings, we will put the longitude and the latitude of everywhere we turned him loose at. So that's the story behind the tat. And the reason for the owl is because the whole time he was sick, I would have owls that would come even in the daytime. And you know, owls are nocturnal birds. But owls would come even in the daytime, and they would come as close to just right up on my porch. And they would hoot on the porch and stuff. But the morning that he passed away at night, but that morning they started gathering up, you know, close up on the porch, and they were just screaming. I mean, the hoots were just screeches, and they screeched throughout the day. So it was almost like a spiritual experience with the owls. It was like they just knew. It was really strange. So that's why I chose the owl. Well, it's kind of crazy, but that's the way it happened. When we put some ash in a balloon, or some tied it onto a balloon on the outside, and we cut a tiny hole in the bag. And as the balloon went up, it started twirling and the ash started coming down. Well, when the balloon got up high enough, like to tree level where we had let it go, an eagle come down from the left side. And by the time I got that eagle into frame with the camera, I mean, I was kind of in awe. A second eagle come down from the right side, and it was like they just kind of come straight at the balloon. It was kind of wild. But the one eagle that come from the left just kind of flew off with the balloon as far as we could just see, until we couldn't see the balloon anymore. So that was kind of crazy too. And we've let him go in a bunch of spots, but that one particular spot was crazy. I spent a lot of time grieving about that, and I tried just not to let it get me down anymore. So, yeah. I try to focus my energy on my daughter and my son that I got left. That's what he would want me to do. Because he hated when I was sad, so I know that he wouldn't want me to be sad all the time. Oh, that's for sure. But anyway, guys, I am going to jump off of here. And like I said, when you see the thumbnail, that particular text message I got from Evil Exist, I'll drop that down into my description. And where you can find that is on her video, leaked audio of the victim's advocate. And that is where she just asked Donald Wells if there's any hope of ever finding Summer, and he just flat out tells her no. So, like I said, just go back over the video. I've told y'all where you can find the information, and just go from there. And remember, I love you all. And again, let it be, I appreciate your $10 super chat. That helps me keep all my subscriptions up and everything, that keeps me researching for you guys. So I really appreciate it. And again, I love you guys. Without you guys, I wouldn't be here. I wouldn't have a purpose to research. So love you guys, and y'all have a beautiful day, okay?